The comments, views, and opinions expressed in the podcast are those of the speakers and do not necessarily represent the views of Point72 Academy. All information provided herein is for informational purposes only, is not investment advice, and should not be deemed as a recommendation to buy or sell securities. All investments involve risk, including the loss of principal. This podcast does not constitute an offer to sell or the solicitation of an offer to purchase any security or investment product. Any such offer or solicitation may only be made by means of delivery of an approved confidential offering memorandum. This podcast may not be copied, and it may not be distributed or furnished to or used by anyone other than the intended recipient without the express written consent of Point72.
One of the great things about Point72 is it's really founded on this kind of very entrepreneurial spirit that Steve Cohen has. And I think you're at a firm with intellectual capital. You really just have a lot of tools at your disposal that the firm provides as a young analyst, really building yourself and your career.
That's Anna, a TMT analyst and Point72 Academy grad. She's talking with us about the question that can define your investing career. How do I excel? It's difficult to earn a place at our firm, and it's a lot of work to make it through the academy. And if you think that's tough, wait until you meet the market. But for people who want to learn every day, there's no job like it. And most of those people want to be really good at what they do. That's what this episode is about. I'm Jaimi Goodfriend, director of the Point72 Academy. Since 2015, we've helped more than 125 recent grads and early career professionals discover an investing career and earn an analyst role with us. To talk more about that, we spoke with Jaimi Simon, an analyst coach here at Point72. Jaimi built a career as an analyst, sector head, and PM before transitioning to a coaching role. He's done the job of an analyst, trained analysts working for him, and today he works with analysts who are applying their own unique perspective to a wide array of companies. If you want to know what excelling looks like, he's the person to talk to. Jaimi, thanks so much for joining us today.
Happy to be here. Thanks, Jaimi.
You're a former PM who started your career as an analyst, and today you help lead our analyst coaching business, helping analysts at our firm develop their skills and take their investing careers to the next level. I guess my first question today is, how did we get here?
Sure. My career started on the sell side, equity research, covering the specialty finance sector, which is credit card companies, auto finance companies. That's where I sort of started out. And shortly after starting my career on the sell side, I joined a single manager hedge fund. It was actually a unique opportunity because it was one of the only buy side firms at the time that had a 2 to 3 year analyst program. Wasn't looking to leave the sell side, but it seemed like a very special opportunity, and I took it, and I started my career on the buy side back in 2002. I was there for a little over 2 years, and then I joined a firm that was just getting started. I was there covering financial stocks for a little over 5 years. Then I joined another single manager that had just gotten started right around the time of the global financial crisis. I was there for 9 years as the financial sector head, a partner in the firm, and then I had reached the stage in my career where even though I had autonomy and a lot of responsibility in my previous roles, I really wanted to be the sole decision maker and a portfolio manager. So I joined Point72 in 2018 as a portfolio manager. So I've been here for about 4 years now, and a couple months back, I transitioned to the coaching seat. And so now I am a full-time analyst coach here at Point72.
You talked a lot about the analyst role and how your career has transitioned from the sell side to the buy side. Can we first start by talking about the analyst role itself? What are the differences that you experienced between the sell side and the buy side?
Sure. So yes, on the sell side, you have your buy, sell, and hold recommendations, but you're not being marked to market from a P&L perspective on a daily basis. And that's a very different feeling. And on the sell side, there could be a lot of projects and reports that take up a big amount of your time, and you can not focus on sort of what's going on a daily basis with, the stocks that you cover. But on the buy side, you don't have that luxury, and the market's moving constantly. And at the end of the day, I wanted to be on the other side of the table. And I was also just, at a high level, more excited about the potential career path being on the buy side versus the sell side.
Reflecting back on your buy side career, do you feel that the sell side experiences that you had were necessary to become a great buy side analyst?
You could have started in a few different ways, but I think at the end of the day, the most important part about getting started is a solid analytical foundation, whether that's modeling, accounting, anything along those lines. I think is the more important part of how, where you start your career, as opposed to which exact role and what seat you're sitting in at any moment in time.
What do you think makes this place great for analysts?
I think the most important differentiating factor here versus other firms, based on my experience and my knowledge, is just the investment the firm puts behind its people. The firm is very focused on career development. It wants to make sure every analyst at the firm has every opportunity to continue to grow.
So, what is the job of an analyst coach?
At the end of the day, the analyst coach role is a resource for the analysts. And then there's a completely other side of the analyst coaching role, which I would describe more as just the mentorship angle. Taking a step back, what are your goals for the next 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, 24 months? How do we start laying the groundwork to make sure you're on the path to achieve those goals? You want to, expand coverage at some point in time. What's the right way to go about doing that?
How important is mentorship and apprenticeship in this business?
I personally think it's huge. I think sure everyone will develop their own independent style, but you're going to be influenced by the analysts that you worked with in your first buy side job. So I think having role models, mentors is a very important part of the development as an analyst. The relationships you build and the people you work with not only lay the foundation for how you approach your job, but it could lead to different job opportunities further down the road.
Now that you're fully focused on analyst development, how do you think analysts generally can excel in their careers?
Yeah, I think the answer changes slightly over time. Meaning, if you're in your first few months at a job, that answer is probably pretty different than the fifth year analyst who's been doing it for a while. But I think there's some commonalities and general principles that would apply in all cases. The reliability and accuracy in work, attention to detail is critical too. At all times, I think understanding and meeting your expectations.
Jeremy, thanks so much for joining us today.
Of course, happy to be here. Thanks, Jamie.
You heard Jeremy talk about his investing career, but we also wanted to hear more about his path to investing, the lessons he's learned, and the things that have surprised him along the way.
In high school, I thought I might have been going to law school. I think, when I had to put down what I thought my major was going to be, it was poli sci, but that quickly transitioned to econ. And then, as a econ major, I think, a path towards finance was a very logical transition. So I think shortly into college, I knew I was going to do something in finance, but I wasn't sure quite what initially. So when I was, a junior in college, I think it was right around the height of the .com tech bubble. So the choices seemed to be either tech or finance. I tried to thread the needle a little bit, and I worked at a venture from a large investment bank that was trying to build a online wealth management system for high net worth individuals. I quickly realized that that necessarily wasn't the skill set I was looking to develop and build. So I transitioned from that internship to a role in equity research at that firm with my full-time job post the internship. I have a couple of kids. I spend most of my free time away from this building with them. And then, in addition to that, I've always tried to stay active. Sports have been an important part of my life. And, I continue to do that. And whether it's golf, skiing, softball, basketball, I think for me, having that competitive outlet and a physical, activity has always been an important, way to clear my mind and have a moment that I'm not thinking about anything else and just sort of being present at whatever activity is I'm doing at that point in time. I've really worked with, phenomenal people every step along the way, like good people, smart people, people that you want to be around. And so I think I've just been pretty surprised at the caliber and quality and integrity of everyone I've worked with in my career. So if I had to give advice to any analyst when you're thinking about your career, you have to realize and appreciate that the way you carry yourself and your approach to the job is going to stick with you, and you never know who one day down the line is going to be a key reference for you in any capacity. But if you continue to focus on your own, you know, personal development and enhancing your skills and always making sure whatever seat you're in, you're doing the best you can at it, that will lead to other opportunities along the road. And I've seen so many people in their careers in this seat where they were doing well in one role and then something changes and it led to something even better. So, I think this is a business where things change and there's not a lot of long-term visibility in many ways, but ultimately it can lead to a lot of different opportunities.
That was Jeremy Simon, an analyst coach at Point 72, talking about his investing career, how analysts can excel, and what Point 72 does to help. Jeremy's perspective is valuable because of the diversity of analyst careers he's seen. But we thought you might like to hear directly from some of the analysts at our firm.
Hey, I'm Steve Schmidt. I'm a senior analyst on George Pilcher's team, and I cover everything that's related to consumer.
Hey, I'm Anna Venetianer. I'm on George Pilcher's team as well and work under Steve Schmidt.
Yeah, so Anna's an analyst, a lot of great things to say. When we're looking to hire people, there's kind of like a baseline, prerequisites. Like you have to be hardworking, have to be smart, have to be analytical. So she definitely is all three of those. But I think two things that stood out to me above that would be one is she's passionate and engaged, and the other thing is that she's a self-starter, always pushing the ball forward, even when it's not like a direct assignment that needs to get done tomorrow.
In terms of how I got here, I had a slightly kind of unconventional career path in that I was actually pre-med, kind of my whole life, like high school, college. I was set on that career path. And then college decided to like really explore some additional classes and just kind of fell in love with investing and just, you're the epicenter of global events, just kind of the fast paced markets. And it was just something that really excited me. So halfway through my college career, I made this huge leap to switch over to finance. And I think, at that point I had really no idea what to do in finance. I mean, I didn't, know what consulting versus work, PE versus a hedge fund, like what those jobs entailed. So I just, again, tried to kind of soak up as much information as I could and really just went to every career fair, joined every single club, tried every single activity to figure out what I was good at and what interested me. And then I heard about Point 72's Academy program. And at that point, I think 4 to 5 years ago when I interviewed for that internship, it was just a really revolutionary idea on the street where, you come in for an entire year. Basically, you're just getting paid to learn and just really grow yourself and your career. And so that's really, how I end up at Point 72 is really just the academy program and just the opportunity to, you're graduating college and you're not done learning. And I think that just really stood out to me. And that's really how I got to Point 72.
Point City definitely has a development culture. Steve and the management team have talked about it. Like they want to grow talent internally, and that's something that like we try to make a priority on our team too. We want analysts to stay on the team for a long time, and that only works if the analysts are developing and they have each analyst on the team has a career path of like this is what we're focused on this year. Next year, 3 years from now, like there's a good path for each individual person on the team.
I mean, I think one of the great things about Point 72 is it's really founded on this kind of very entrepreneurial spirit that Steve Cohen has. And I think you really just have a lot of tools at your disposal that the firm provides. I think really the way to excel is just surround yourself. I mean, you're at a firm with just intellectual capital. And so really, relying on that and going to as many events as you can to learn from others, especially as a young analyst, really building yourself and your career. People here are also just like very generous with their time. Just like a great example of that is when I joined the internship, I sat next to a girl who had a coding background and I had kind of my more medical background. And when we started our rotations, she happened to be on a healthcare team. And so, she would ask me questions all the time and I'd help her out versus, I had a I was on a data heavy team where I had to use a lot of data. And she, took 4 hours out of her day one afternoon to just sit down and explain to me and show me how to do that. And I think that just really resonated.
Yes, I think there's a couple of ways for an analyst to excel. I think you just want to do high quality work consistently and take ownership over your work. You want to be thoughtful and rigorous on all the work that you do and don't cut corners. I think at Point 72, like one thing that you can do to excel is just utilize all the resources that are here. Like nobody's going to hand it all to you on a silver platter. It's the investment analyst's job to kind of stitch it all together. And yeah, and you kind of like get more confidence over time and are able to do that.
I think the way the academy is structured, it's just like this process where you kind of learn everything in the beginning. You have all these amazing teachers who fly in and kind of really teach you the basics to distill. And then after that, you have this long period of time where you're applying it yourself and you have all these coaches and mentors working with you. And so I think kind of, halfway through that that middle portion of the academy where you're really working on pitches, that it really just clicked. But then kind of once you join the team, that's really where the steepest learning curve was really just, putting your intellectual capital to use. And I think it definitely takes time. I've been on the team for a little over a year at this point. So I think kind of that first year, really our philosophy on the team is you're just, reading what you can, picking up as many names as you can, and just really understand what's happening in your sector and, how kind of all the players fit into the industry and what's happening big picture. So I think that's kind of the beauty of this job is you're always learning, you're always building yourself as an investor.
Yeah. So, what makes me suited to do this job? I think I enjoy just learning about new businesses. That's what we're doing every day. So, and I like doing that. And when that just keeps it interesting for me and keeps me going. And then just the last thing I think that, helps day to day, year to year is, I think I'm competitive. I want to do a good job, but I think also level headed too. Like things don't always go your way. And, there's a good middle ground. I think, those two things like just help you get through the weeks, get through the earning cycles, get through the years.
That was Steve Schmidt and Anna Venetiener, an analyst team here at Point 72, talking about their career development and how analysts can excel. I'm Jaimi Goodfriend, and this is Becoming a Hedge Fund Analyst, inside Point 72 Academy. Listen to our entire series to hear from portfolio managers, analysts, and others on the ins and outs of this industry, and learn how you can become a part of it. Visit our website at point72.com/academy to learn more about how we are training the next generation of investors. Thanks for listening.